Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to American Truck Simulator, and welcome to Carson City, Nevada. We just took a job, and unfortunately we've got this, no, I don't want to say unfortunately. We have this big trailer, this big log trailer on, an owned trailer, which I did paint graphite, by the way. I wasn't happy with that blue. Was not happy with that blue. So we went ahead and painted that trailer, we slept, and we are now headed to the Bay Area. We're going to deadhead to the Bay Area to pick up, sir, ma'am. All right. We're going to head to the Bay Area to pick up a load of lumber that is going up to Oregon. I want to head back to Oregon to see more of the jobs that spawn for that trailer. I'm told there are more log jobs in Oregon, and I assume there will be more in Washington as well. And at the moment, I still have not seen a release date for the Washington DLC, but I'd like to be up in that part of the map when it's released. And it'll probably take us, well, it'll take us one trip to get to the Bay Area just to pick up this job. And then probably 2 trips to get up to, where's it going? Ontario, I believe. Ontario, Oregon. So we're looking at the next 3 weeks, sort of, for this job. And hopefully by then we'll have a better idea of what is going on with the Washington DLC. Yeah, you can see in the mirror our trailer is black now. I wasn't unhappy with the blue, but I wasn't happy with the blue. You could say I was unhappy with the blue. It's just too much blue. Too much blue. Right, so what is going on? Oh man, there's a lot going on. There really is. It's always fun when there's a lot going on. I wouldn't say a short attention span, but I definitely enjoy a little bit of, you know what I'm saying? I like it when things are going on. So, first thing is I am once again playing on a giant monitor. I had some of my stuff sent to me on the road, and I'm in my gigantic leather executive office chair, which is effing fantastic. It's so comfortable. And I am... You get a green light? I'm watching the traffic over here and we get a green light. Fantastic. And I'm on a big monitor. I did get my wheels set up, which I am super, super happy about. And I will tell you a little bit about iRacing momentarily. Now, I do have my wheels set up, but I am driving this truck, this sim. I will stay on gamepad, and there's a couple reasons. One is I'm just used to it. I like it. I don't have... I've got the paddle shifters on my wheel. I don't have a standalone gear shift, and I mean, even if I did, I would probably that's tricky. I mean, I would like to get, is it the SDK shifter, the cap with the switch on it for your gear range and your splitter and everything? I believe that's SDK. I've heard good and bad things about that. I've heard that it is not very well made and not very reliable. I've heard other people say they have terrible customer support, and then the actual availability of them kind of comes and goes. But let's say I could find one, and let's say it is everything that I need it to be. Now my shifter is completely sort of given over to and configured to that truck shifting attachment, that truck transmission attachment. And I don't know, I mean, it's not a simple thing. You have to take the cap off, take a little screw out. It's not like you just pop it on and off. That's not necessarily something that I would want to do every time I drove something that's not a truck. And I assume that you could just drive a car with that thing on there, but then again, I don't know how I feel about that. Bottom line is something would have to give. Some part of my gaming configuration apparatus, you know what I'm saying, something would have to be not quite the way I want it to be. And I feel like I would rather have it be, I would rather have my race sim, I don't know, lifestyle? What word are we looking for there? I would rather have the racing be more accurate and more valid and drive a truck on the gamepad than vice versa. So I am on the gamepad, but I am on a big monitor. And, you know, everything in this life, you will find as you travel the road of life, you will find that everything has a plus and a minus. That's the superhero rule. You give somebody a superpower, they have to have a super vulnerability as well. Because if not, you end up with Superman, who's just boring. That's the thing about Superman. He's just silly. He's super. He can do anything. That's not a superhero. That's just, you got to have a vulnerability. Kryptonite? Really? No, it's so obscure. I mean, who's got kryptonite laying around? Superman is basically like the Juggernaut. He's the Patriots. He's unstoppable, and that's boring. So big monitor, yeah, big monitor is fantastic. I've been gaming on a 15-inch laptop monitor. Now I'm suddenly on this giant monitor that when I sit in a comfortable position relative to the desk, I swear the edges of the monitor are like almost out beyond my peripheral vision. Oh, it's fantastic. But here's the thing about monitors, and I understand why people are getting kind of hot for 4K, is the bigger your monitor is, the bigger your pixels are. So I'm realizing that there are, I wouldn't say that it concealed them, but I'm realizing there are some things that my small monitor sort of, you know what I'm saying? Covered up for. Yeah. So I've had to reconfigure some graphics settings because anti-aliasing that looked fine on that 15-inch monitor is suddenly not quite adequate on this mega monitor. But that's life, man. That's life. That's, you know what I'm saying? Everything has a positive and a negative. So I did go through and get all my race sims configured for the wheel once again. A lot of them actually, my saved profile was in there. So it was like 2 clicks. And it had all my settings, it had all my preferences, force feedback settings, everything. And it is amazing to be back on the wheel. It is such a difference. I did 2 races in iRacing. I've been off the service for months, and I did 2 races in iRacing. First race I came 4th. Second race I came 3rd. So my second race back, I made it to the podium. Now I'm on a C license, and if you know iRacing, you spend a lot of time in Miatas. There's like 3 different types of Miata. Race prep, but still a Miata. Which, I mean, I shouldn't say it like that. Miata, I believe, is the most raced car in the world, and you can make that thing into an absolute weapon. So it's definitely a fast, challenging car to drive. It's just not, it's not a Formula One car, and so we look at it like, oh, poo-poo. If somebody gave me a race prep Miata today, I would drive the shit out of it. Are you kidding me? Love it. So there's also the Spec Racer Ford, which is, again, in the, I don't want to say the lower classes, but yeah, in the C license classes, in the C license races. That's the sort of car that you're going to be driving. The Radical, I believe there's some races for that. A couple of the Indy cars, although I'm going to stay away from open wheel and focus specifically on sports cars. I really want to get into some of the higher league sports car series, and I will be driving the Mercedes where I can. You can drive that for all of the GT3 series and for the ILMS series. I believe I will need to get the Ford GT for the GTE series because I'm not driving the Porsche. Everybody loves the Porsche, everybody loves the BMW M8, and I mean plenty of people drive the Ford as well, but I don't know about the M8. It's a fantastic car in real life and in racing. It's a fantastic car. I just don't know if I'm interested in it. And the 911 is, I don't want to say it's a cliche, but it kind of is. It's just, yeah. So I'll probably go with the GT. The Ford GT. It's, yeah, GTE Racing, so I say the GT, and it's like they're all GT, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. In the meantime, I'm working toward getting into the GT3 races with the big Mercedes, and to do that, I'm going to have to drive a ton of races in those Miatas, which is fine. So it goes. Now, I can tell you something else that's funny, which is I'm in an office chair, and I anticipated this problem. I did. I anticipated this problem, and I did some research online before I had all my stuff sent, because I know that if you want to drive seriously with wheel and pedals, it's tricky in an office chair. And particularly for my setup, because I do have the load cell simulator on my brake pedal. I've got Thrustmaster TMX Pro wheel and pedals. And I've got the load cell simulator, which is basically just a hard, like a bumper block, a hard rubber block mounted behind the brake pedal. And it has very little travel. It's set up. We're going to take a fine here to drive through Yosemite, but we knew that. Yes, I have to turn around and go back, and yet I will not turn around and go back. I ain't scared. So a load cell is I guess the easiest way to say this is that brake force in cars is controlled by pressure rather than travel. Whereas with most lower end pedals, and I mean the Thrustmaster, it's not cheap by any means. I think I paid $400 for that set, 400 US. So that's not cheap, but it's also consumer grade. It's not the good stuff by any means. And at that level, you have potentiometers rather than load cells, and a potentiometer measures travel. So essentially, even with a stiff spring in your brake pedal, it's still controlling the brakes based on how far you push the pedal versus how hard you push the pedal. When you get into higher end sim brakes, they have a load cell, which brake force, it determines brake force by pressure rather than travel. And typically those are set up with a little bit of free travel, and that is to replicate the movement that you get in a brake system in a car. When you're initially touching the pedal, pushing the pedal, you're bringing the pads into the rotor, and so you get a little bit of free play, and then after that it's based on pressure. So the way that the load cell simulator in the Thrustmaster system works, and again, it's just a hard rubber block. To say a load cell simulator sounds kind of high-tech, super high-tech. Not high-tech at all. It's just a hard durometer block. And there's a little gap, so you get that free play movement of the pedal, and then the pedal immediately becomes extremely stiff, and you really have to push on it hard. And so it sort of gives the feel of a load cell. Not really, but sort of. The pedal barely travels at all. But by setting your minimum and maximum, you can sort of get that feeling on the cheap. And there are actually load cell conversion kits that you can get for those pedals. But I think at that point I would probably just go with Fanatec or something. I'm not going to spend a couple $100 upgrading a consumer level wheel set. Concentrating, by the way. Concentrating. Bottom line is I have to push on my brake pedal very, very hard. And I'm in a chair with wheels on it. Now, I'm no physicist. I'm no Newtonian expert, but I promise you, if you push on a brake pedal real hard while you're sitting in a chair with wheels, backwards you will go. So, anticipating that, I did some research, and I found a lot of very creative solutions, but virtually all of them involved, on some level, somehow, stabilizing the wheels of the chair, or replacing them with small gliders. Not really an option for me for a couple reasons, and I guess the main one is my chair still pivots. It still rotates around a post, right? So it's still going to be a problem. It's still going to be a problem because I'm not pushing my brake pedal with both feet evenly, right? I'm pushing with my left foot, which means I'm going to spin to the left. That's no good. And then I see on Reddit, I see a guy who's built this contraption. Could we call it that? I think we could. He's built this contraption where it basically like bolts the arms of his chair to the desk. And I mean, I can't do construction work. I'm in an Airbnb. I can't be drilling on my host's desk. But I think, this has potential. This has potential. So what I did was I went to Home Depot. If you're not in the U.S., Home Depot is like a gigantic hardware store chain. The chain is big, but the stores themselves are like big as an aircraft hangar. And I got some ratchet straps. I got tie-down straps for strapping something down in the bed of a pickup or such as you have there. And essentially all I did with these is ran them across the top of the desk and put the big hook over the back lip of the desk. And I also got two giant carabiners, like really big. And if you, we got it. if you know carabiners at all, you know it's not just the girth of the loop itself versus what it has to go around, it's the gate opening as well. So I needed something with a huge gate to go around the arms of my office chair, which are sort of closed loops. So I put a giant carabiner around each arm of my chair and tied a loop in those straps. I didn't use the ratchet mechanism. I just tied a loop in them at the appropriate distance. And when I'm ready to race, I roll my chair up very close to the desk, clip those carabiners through those loops on the left and the right. Right? And now I'm in essence strapped to my desk. And it's amazing. It's a $12 solution, non-destructive, nothing needed to be drilled, nothing needed to be, you know what I mean? And it works fantastic. It's not perfect, you know, but I'm also not in a race chair. I'm in an office chair in an Airbnb, and I found a way to make it work. So that was sort of my setup, and then I just went through and got all my sims configured, and it's fantastic to be back on the wheel. It is so much more immersive, and it is also I'm realizing by comparison impossible to drive a race car in sim accurately with a gamepad. I know some people can do it. I have seen people do, you know, like world record laps of various tracks on a gamepad. They can, I cannot, and I don't know that enough people can that it's a thing. If it was, it would be a thing. But I think the consensus is that if you want to drive fast in sim racing, for the most part, you have got to be on a wheel. So that is what's going on there. Oh, and the other reason I don't want to use the wheel and pedals for Truck Sim is it's very loud. It's got a super loud force feedback motor. My microphone is on my desk, so it picks up the low frequency vibration from the motor. And also the paddle shifters are super, super loud. Very, very positive click action on those. So a couple of reasons why that is a non-starter, but I'm just used to the gamepad as well. You know, I'll play Truck Sim sometimes if I'm in a hotel. I'll HDMI to the really big monitor, like to the 5-foot TV in a big hotel room, and just prop myself up in bed with a glass of champagne and drive my truck. And you can't do that with a wheel, so I'm used to it. I'm just used to it now. Wow, we're speeding a little bit. Right. So what else is going on? There you go. What else is going on? No date yet on Washington. We said that. I did see another sim that I wanted to tell you about. Now I've forgotten. WRC7. Dirt Rally 2. I've been playing a lot of Dirt Rally 2.0. And, initially I wasn't super impressed. And I think the disappointment, maybe? No, that's too strong a word. I think one of the issues that I have with it is because it's not officially licensed, it's sort of a rally game, but sort of not a rally game. You know what I mean? It's there's a lot of things missing from that. Well, they've added a little bit of content. They added Monaco. And I also realized the rallies are much, much longer. Like the stages are a lot longer than in, I think at the very end of Dirt Rally 1, like for your final gold medal, the rallies are longer, but they're pretty long in Dirt Rally 2.0, like 10 miles, 7 miles, 8 miles. That is accurate. I know in real life, rally stages can go on for 20 or 30 minutes. So that is super cool. And I think what I like about it is, you've got the things that happen on a stage. Flat tire, maybe take a little damage. Well, if you're doing a 3-mile stage, that's devastating. You're sort of done. But on those longer stages that might take 8 or 10 or 12 minutes, a 30-second delay while you change your tire or something it's not the end of the world. You can recover from that. I would like to see more random mechanicals for the AI drivers. But I guess I haven't really gotten into any online play in Rally at all. I'm curious I'm curious how that would work. I guess you just compare times, because you know what I mean? Like in circuit racing, you're all racing together. You all finish at approximately the same time. You certainly all start at the same time. In Rally, well, no. I guess if you were playing online, you could just do it virtually. You would all start at the same time, and then you wouldn't be on the course together. You would simply be driving at the same time in different locations, and then when you're done, you compare your times. Maybe. Yeah, that would work. Because as it is now, there's an AI pace arrow to show you where the leader is, either in front of you or behind you. So if you were racing live multiplayer, it could simply show you where other drivers were and how your time needed to improve. Right? You see what I mean? I guess there's a way to do it. You wouldn't necessarily have to wait until the other drivers were done with the stage. That would take forever. Sitting around for 8 or 9 minutes waiting for the next driver. Or you could also, I suppose, start at intervals as you do in a real rally. Interesting. Okay. So maybe that is where I don't know, because I've literally never done that. I've never done multiplayer rally. But I guess what I'm getting at is, with those longer stages, I feel like having some damage that slows you down, or having a flat tire, is not as bad when you have more time to recover from it. So yeah, I'm coming around to it a little bit. Graphics are different; they're better, but I'm sort of running out of capacity with my laptop. Games are getting more and more demanding every year, and my laptop is not changing. So until I upgrade my system, as each new game comes out, I'm having to dial the graphics back further and further to keep the frame rate up. And eventually, when I do get my new system, I'll be able to see what some of these graphics look like. But at the moment, some of these sims and some of these games that I'm playing, I hear great things about the graphics, but I can't necessarily see them because I got to dial it back a little bit. So we will see what's going on there. We are on the farm sim front. We are at the end of the season. I did not time it this way. It worked out this way. We are at the end of the season on both Coldborough Park and Donald Laskowitz. Now, if there were ever a time to end a farm, to close out a farm series, I think it would be during the winter. I don't know if I want to close out either one of those, both of them. I'm back on FS19. I took like a little 2-week break in a snit, but we're back on FS19, at least to test Era Ireland. So I don't know if I want to make Era Ireland a series. I don't know. I just saw Old Streams released. And Old Streams is it Old Streams? Is it Old Stream? Are there one stream or two streams? We'll say Old Stream, singular. Old Stream dropped for FS19. I really like that map. I don't necessarily like everything that's sort of been done to it for the later stages of FS17 and then into FS19. I preferred, I think, the first version of it. The first version, and then they released the second version for Seasons, and then they released a V3 where they added a bunch of giant fields. I don't feel like there need to be giant fields on Old Stream. That's a small, tight kind of European map. I didn't really like the big fields. But it looks like the FS19 version does have those. I mean, you just don't use them. If you don't like big fields, don't plant them. Don't use them. So we have that option. But I've considered Old Stream, which sort of reminds me of Herman's Eck. Or Herman's Eck reminds me of Old Stream. Just a tight, kind of quaint European farm. Continental European farm. So we got possibilities. We can do some things with Era Ireland. We can do some things with Old Stream. We can keep Coldborough Park and Donald Laskowitz going. So I'll think about it. And we'll decide what we want to do. I suppose at some point we should get an FS19 map going permanently. You know, because we are, at some point, I have to transition over to FS19. Now, there have been a lot of sims. Mods. There have been a lot of mods that have dropped in, I'd say, the past week or 10 days, really, since I've been off FS19 and, you know, coming back into it. I've seen some things, you know, Follow Me has dropped. There's a vehicle extension that modifies the power a little bit and adds a parking brake and a forward and reverse shuttle, which I prefer. I'm so used to accelerating always with the right trigger. Accelerating in reverse with the left trigger is a little almost disorienting for me. Right. And we are taking, I want to say we're taking lumber up to, yep, where is it? We can go to Newport, Portland, or Klamath Falls. What do you want to do? Do you want to, how far is this? This is 373 miles. We could probably do this in one trip. I think this would definitely be 2 trips. Let's do this one. Let's do this one. Take this one to Klamath Falls. Right. Brakes off. Put her in gear. Where are we going? Can't see. Around the corner is where we're going. Got it there. Got it there. Carefully. Got it. Okay. Now this is kind of a big area. I think I see it right there. I think I see it. Is that it? Yep, right there. Okay, cool. Let's get it back in there. We'll get loaded up with some board lumber. This doesn't look like trees. Looks like just milled line, which is odd. I mean, why would you be taking lumber back to Oregon? I think they've got all they need up there. Man, this game on a big monitor, though, I have to say, it is like, I don't know, it's just different. I feel like when you're playing on a small monitor, you're looking at your monitor. And when I get on a big monitor, I feel like I'm looking into the game. Like, this is just worlds apart. Wow. I know when I check my metrics and my analytics for the channel, I can see like what platform people watch on, and it's I wouldn't say mostly phone. A lot of people watch on their phone. People watch on tablets, PC, but it doesn't obviously tell you how big their monitor is. And then it's probably 5%, 8% are watching on a TV, Fire or a smart TV or something. And concentrating. Finally, get it in one swing. Oh, not really. Not really. I'll have to straighten that out. That's terrible. Close, though. Closer. Closer. Right. Swing it over to that side just a little bit. Put it in neutral, set the brake, let's load up and take a look. Boom. Now, are those cut? Nope, those are full length. Okay, so those are like construction timbers. Fantastic. Yeah, those have got to be 30 feet long. Beautiful. Right, let's call it there, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of American Truck Simulator. And we'll see you next time. Take care now.